They were stopped on a hill at a red light, Kate Riley and a man. There was always a man. Did it matter which? Perhaps it might have mattered if she had been willing or not afraid. They were stopped on a steep hill, the red light at the top crowning the intersection, with several cars in front, so that theirs, it was new and dark, tilted sharply up toward the summit. Until she glanced to her left, there were the usual sounds of afternoon traffic in the town of Monterey. The sun was out, a temperate day, an ordinary moment from the flow of impersonal and familiar time. Until she saw the young woman, there was sound, the calico busyness of suburban scene, the smell of new leather, the man beside her, his hand resting lightly atop hers. She could not see his face, but she noted with satisfaction the space filled in by his shape. He had just concluded a long sentence with her name at its caboose, Kate. Gently rocking at the end, a reassuring lilt that to some extent she knew she did not need, even while she took pleasure in its small, ritualized caress. Then it all vanished, or it dropped its claims, ceased to move. The camera had stopped forward action, and the moment fell from above like a single pebble into her hand. On the sidewalk to her left was a young woman. She alone went on and lived on. A black Labrador sat beside the woman, alert, watching the traffic, his nose lifted slightly, his head shifting one way and then another. He seemed to be hoping that someone would come along to help. The young woman was slender, even cadaverous. Her left hip bone jutted out and up at a distorted angle, and the modern hip-hugging slacks she wore struck a sad note of complicity. She was blind, and could neither see and enjoy her conformity with the fashion of the day, nor realize how slightly, fatally it missed the mark. Someone else, not family. Kate could not imagine a family. A friend or store clerk, perhaps, had chosen the clothing for her. Kate could not imagine a family because of the dignity. Dignity of that sort was self-generated and independent. Dignity could not be borrowed. It was wrung from the smallest of acts repeated over time. The cropped shirt revealed a swath of tummy, flat and pale, not unattractive. Men liked looking without being seen. Yes, Kate thought, even the man sitting next to me, all of them. The young woman's hair had been cut with ease of care or utility in mind. The eye locations were shadowed like charcoal smudges and sunken in against the nose in the way that was typical of people blind from birth. It was as if the muscles surrounding the eyes, having never been called to action, retreated permanently. With her left hand she gripped the animal's heavy leather harness as she tugged a plastic bag over her right hand, using her teeth in the end. There was something wrong with the arm. It kept springing up and bending inward like a wing that did not want to be extended. Finally, she half knelt, half squatted on the curb, all awkward limbs and angles. This girl had more than simple blindness to deal with. But there was something exciting, even aesthetic, about her distortions, a figure in a dream by Picasso. In fact, the whole thing became a marvelous, lurid dance, and Kate was completely transfixed by the sightless cadaver with her one wing and her dog so true. Kate glanced ahead up the hill. The light had still not changed. In the town of Monterey, dogs had to be leashed. They had to be cleaned up after by their owners. The first was a municipal code, and the second simply a local code of conduct encouraged by discreet signs and the occasional plastic bag dispenser in parks and along popular walkways. The young woman's seeing eye dog had defecated in the gutter. It had never crossed Kate's mind, or she had never associated this natural function with seeing eye dogs, who were immune, like priests and nuns and doctors, to the imaginings and degradations of the public eye. The stools left by the Labrador were round and hard, and these attributes combined with the steep slope had sent them rolling downhill about 4 or 5 feet. Her hand, sheathed in the plastic, made a sweep of the gutter. Nothing. Again she swept the area where she knew her dog had hunched moments earlier and where she naturally estimated his leavings should be found. Beside her the Labrador waited, perhaps embarrassed by what he had done, confused by her actions, worried. But Kate could see that he trusted his mistress despite the long delay, or that he was at least willing to put up with things as they were. The light would never change. Kate thought about mentioning what she was witnessing to the man beside her, but even before the thought had concluded, she decided that she did not want him to see it. Who would want to share so remarkable a moment? But she could not share it either. It was like trying to call out in the middle of a dream. The effort was overwhelming. She felt paralyzed by the narrative. Now the young woman dropped clumsily to both knees, the one normal arm and hand still linked to the dog's rectangular harness, and the other, the wing, fluttering out beyond the safety of the gutter into the actual lane where cars, which had turned right from the cross street above, were now passing with the swift, carefree momentum of descent. Down, down, down they rushed toward her innocent arm, and just below, out of reach, the 3 brown stools sat like 3 blind mice. Christ, let it go, Kate Riley thought. Just let it go. Surely you are not required. You may excuse yourself. The light changed. Time resumed, gathering its skirts and fleeing before them. The car surged forward, the seat pressing itself with the sudden authority of the present tense into Kate's body. You are here, it said. Now, it asserted. But she thought that she would look back. She felt sure that she would look back. She even wondered if some part of her, some imagined allegorical remnant of Kate Riley, would ask that they stop. And she would get out of the car, cross over, be the one the dog waited for, the person who was going to help. And Kate was aware, she marveled, that she did not look back. She felt herself to be in a kind of shock. She could not even turn her head. That was the thing that surprised her most, that she could not even make herself look back. There was so little will left. There was so little will left. Because it was Kate who was in the grip of her own momentum. It was she who sped down, down, down into the broken wings of innocence.